Welcome to the very first episode of the Complete Cobblers podcast with me, Dave Lalor.
And me, John Rhodes.
If you're looking for a well-researched, highbrow, cutting-edge podcast,
Keep looking.
So, we made it. We finally made it.
Yeah.
When I came up with this crazy idea, it took you all of about 20 seconds to reply and say, yeah, go on.
Well, when I first saw it, Dave, I just thought, you know what? I've seen you only a few weeks before, and we ended up talking for 3 hours. And it was as if we'd just, and that were after about 10 years of not seeing each other.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, we're always going to find something to talk about. So, yeah.
Let's do it.
And I think it's time that we educated people what it's like to be from the baby boomer era.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's so different now, isn't it? I mean, Christ, can you imagine? No, but my kids can't get over it. No, how did you cope without a phone?
Yeah, that's it. You know, ring me at 7:30 on local telephone box.
Oh, going out of a weekend, well, they'll be in that pub by this time.
Yeah, you knew where you were. No texting, no messaging, no nothing.
No.
And what I find disappointing now is you can't tie people in the mobile phone. In the good old days, a telephone box, you got a bit of rope, and whoever were in it, you tied them in. Well, we did in Ecclesville. I don't know what it was like and where you were.
Yeah, with tied them in with that lovely aroma that was in there.
Yeah, the odour of the odour of Yorkshire.
I think just these things here. You see, if you want to say, missed that. If you want to say, yes. But yeah, actually, there's just one thing I think maybe we should cover first for listeners across the pond and what have you. Just talking a lot of cobblers, and it's a lot of old cobblers and all that. It's a very British thing. They probably think it's something to do with mending shoes and
yeah.
So the expression in Britain that you're talking a lot of old cobblers. Do you know where it actually came from?
I think it came from a cobbled back street down in Birmingham somewhere.
No, it was cockney rhyming slang.
All right, cockney rhyming slang for...
Well, funnily enough, it sort of became accepted, and people would, but if they didn't realise what the original cockney rhyming slang was, they probably wouldn't have used it, because like a lot of cockney rhyming, they end up dropping off the word that rhymes. So, like they say apples and pears.
Yeah.
But they end up saying, just nip back the apples. And they don't even get bothered with pears. Well, that would say it were cobblers' awls, AWLS, which are the spiky things that put making holes in leather.
Oh, not like you're talking a load of...
That's what it was, yeah.
All right.
You were talking a load of cobblers' awls.
All right. And then it became the cobblers.
And it got dropped to cobblers, and then people...
Well, I didn't know that, Dave. Thanks for that. You see, my job... You've done your job tonight. I've been educated while I've been here.
Yeah, thanks very much. Good night.
Yeah, and that's it from... but speaking of cobbles and apples and pears and going up the stairs...
Yeah.
When you were a kid, what did your mum and dad used to say to you when it was time to go upstairs? And don't say you lived in a bungalow, because I know you didn't.
When it was time to go to bed?
Yeah.
Why? You were saying your mum and dad had to say it?
Yeah, but they'd say, right, it's time to get up dancers.
Oh, dancers, yeah. Yeah, up them dancers. Yeah, I've heard that.
Did you have a bedroom?
Did I have a bedroom?
Yeah. I remember you one at Queensbury.
Yes, we did have a bedroom. I mean, I know we were Irish immigrants and all that, but we didn't. We did actually have bedrooms.
I used to love coming to your house for tea. What's it tonight? Potatoes. 700 varieties of potatoes.
That's right. Meat and 3 veg every night. That's the deal. 4 on a Sunday. So we put out on the socials various things people want to talk about, and we certainly got some answers.
Yeah,
that's for sure. What takes your fancy?
The one that intrigues me is from a friend of ours, Mike Padden.
Oh yeah.
Oh, just on a note, congratulations, Mike, on your 10 years of being cancer free. That is well done there, mate. You've hung in well. And it's about the price of orange juice. Now, does he think it's too cheap?
I didn't know that were a thing or a subject, or like, what the hell's he on about? And then I googled it, and apparently it's going through the roof because of spoilt crop, storm, blaming it on climate change.
Right. It must be certain people, because I was speaking to a local councillor of ours about a different matter on Saturday afternoon, and I mentioned about this podcast, and he had no idea what the hell I was on about. But he said he was going to listen to it. So, Joe Wheatley, I hope you're going to listen to this. And you did ask and say, don't get you started on the price of orange juice. And at that point, I didn't, and we've hung up. So, please, if you can, when you hear this, Joe, just email in and let us know your complete thoughts. I did ask him about I said, are the Beatles overrated? And mine, 10 minutes he was on the phone to me about they were this band from the 50s and they were all this stuff and they weren't the boy bands, and he certainly had an opinion about that one.
Yeah, well, let's be fair, this was your topic, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, yes.
And I was like, what the hell is he talking about? Overrated. I'm very much in your mate boy's same vibe as him. They changed the face of the day.
Yeah, I mean, you
can see, you agree with that.
They were like Slim Whitman, and there were all these others going on. They're here singing about, we all go in a yellow submarine, and I love you, do I love me, do, da. I mean, it's all a load of shit, really.
So then you had the Rolling Stones. Now, the Stones' first album were all covers, and they never wrote any of their own stuff.
Right.
All the thing that were hyped up, the Beatles and the Stones, blah, blah, blah. Lennon and McCartney gave them one of their songs to get them going. I Want to Be Your Man.
Right.
That's Lennon and McCartney wrote that and gave it to the Stones. And that was the first song that the Stones did that wasn't a cover.
Right. Well, yeah, that's fair enough. That was very magnanimous of them to give them that. I've never heard the Stones sing it, like. Did they?
Have you
ever record it? Huh?
Yeah.
But, yeah, so please, let us know what you think about the Beatles. I may be wrong.
You are.
And my friend here, Dave, says I am, but I don't think I am. Please, let us know your feelings on, are the Beatles overrated?
Yeah, okay. So, maybe we'll get maybe it's something we can come back to when people leave us some comments on the socials and email. All the handles for all the socials are at Cobblers Podcast. So whether you're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, they're all at Cobblers Podcast. Or you can email us at completecobblers@gmail.com. The one that I put on there is, are our phones listening?
Ah, right.
And what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I've got to say yes. Now, yesterday, I was in the swimming pool and I was in the corner hanging by my arms to try and give me back a bit of rest because I've got compressed discs. Don't worry about that. There's many more things wrong with me. And that's one for today. And I was hanging there and I thought, I wonder if anybody sells immersion tanks where you can, because it was really comfy when you're just hanging gravity free and all your back's just hanging down. So I'm thinking as I was driving away from it, I wonder if I can get like an immersion tank from somewhere. And then lo and behold, I get home and I'm thinking about it, talking to myself, and goes on my phone and on Amazon, all of a sudden pop up these ice bath tanks. And I'm just thinking, well, how the hell, from just me thinking this, am I now getting adverts? Because I then Googled, I was thinking, I'm going to be a cheapskate, I can't afford the 10 grand that these ice baths are. I thought, I wonder if I could make one out of a garden water butt, the big butts. Because it needs to be about, I think, 1.4 metres or 1.5 metres, just under my armpits.
Well, I've got a water butt if you want to just
Well, we
give
could
it a
try
go.
it, actually. Can we leave it a couple of weeks till it's a bit warmer?
But you must have mentioned it, said something to yourself, said something out loud.
Well, that's what I'm thinking I may have said.
Right, and then we have Mel came up with the absolute theories of all theories, conspiracy theories. So last week, her phone, she got one of these Samsung flip phones, and the contract was ending. So I was saying to her, what are you going to do, get a new phone? She said, no, I'm just going to get a SIM-only deal and put it in this phone's fine. Got up in the morning, phone was dead. That is proper conspiracy, but that's exactly what happened. The phone wouldn't turn on in the morning, and it's down.
And run out of battery or anything.
No, the screen were all buggered when it came on.
Right.
No, it just died. So that's your ultimate conspiracy theory there, isn't it? It's listening to you and killing itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they're definitely. I mean, if you think about like all the Alexas, like I've got the Google version.
This as well.
Yeah, well, it's list. You have the action words to liven them up, don't you?
Yeah.
So it has to be listening. And then they're selling your data on. Probably, if you've never read, have you? You know, when it Facebook, whatever, and it says agree to terms and conditions, and they're about 14 pages long.
I don't know.
But like, you know, if you're on a website and fill in a photo and it says, are you a robot? You know them ones where it says click all the motorbikes or click everything that's a traffic light or loads of little pictures. It says, so yeah, they are using it to determine that you're not a robot. Do you know what they're doing with that data? They're selling it to the likes of Tesla, and it's training driverless cars. So you go, that's a headlight, that's a headlight, that's a car, that's a motorbike.
Oh, right.
And they're taking all that data from everybody who's doing it, who think it's just about, and they're selling it off.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was on the phone to my beloved Lindsay last night, and my watch said to me, sorry, I didn't quite get that this is what I found on the web. And I'm like, what the hell? So, yeah, it was obviously my watch was listening to our conversation, and I must have said whatever word it is. So, yeah, I can well believe that there's something going on with it all.
I mean, no doubt whatsoever.
Well, I think we need people to email in, ring us, messages, whatever they can do. Send us a postcard. Anything you want. Just do it.
Send us a postcard. Yeah.
It's okay. We don't mind anyway.
So, in Mike's little list of things, he had the orange juice, but he also had the rapid demise of spelling, punctuation and grammar.
Without any commas in it.
Listing commas.
Well, spelling just does my head in.
You know, when you look at some posts and they do things like say of, of, when they mean have.
Yeah.
Oh, I would have. Just.
Thing is, I think people rely too much on spell checker and all that. I mean, as you know, in the English language, you can have one word that means 10 different things.
Absolutely. And just grammar too, using the wrong...
Yeah, they're apostrophes. I know people get a bit pedantic and a bit over the top about apostrophes, whether it's his, theirs, the S's at the end and an apostrophe. I can't even remember all the rules with it, but when somebody goes, you spent 10 grand on signage for your building and you've got apostrophe in the wrong place, you think, who did these signs? They do it on a daily basis.
Or the greengrocers.
Yeah.
Potatoes with an apostrophe on end.
I mean, I've forgotten whether it was Donny Market or Bradford Market, where the one guy who used to deliberately misspell everything.
Just to say.
So people would go in, and while they were there, he used to sell them some carrots and a cabbage or a cauliflower or something. But yeah, Mike, you've got a very good serious point there. And in it, and I must admit, I did reply back to Matt and said the word like in conversations does my head in. When you're on a train and there's two, not of our age, because we don't like anything at our age, and you get these two, say, late teens, mid-20s. Yeah, like, and I said like, and this like, and that like, and you know what like? And I counted once in a conversation of 2 minutes, and one woman used it 32 times in a 2-minute conversation.
But also, which is not perhaps grammar, but while we're on the Victor Meldrew getting pissed off at what people say, what should I pissed off?
Yeah.
So the millennials calling each other bro, like they're from, the hood.
Yeah.
And yes, bro. And the more that you've got an accent, Broad Yorkshire or bloody Geordie, you sound even more stupid. Why, hey, now and then, bro. You are not a black American. Shut the up. Shut the up.
Yeah. Funny enough, I went in sauna this afternoon, and there was a guy in there, and I wanted to talk to him because he was swimming, and he got a swimming paddle in front of him. So I think probably mid-30s. I thought, he's learning to swim. And as I walked in the sauna, he were already in, he was laid down, so he got up and he got his pants on, by the way. Just wanted to
not for long, though, eh?
Yeah, not for long. I soon had them off him. I don't know why that was, but anyhow. So yeah, and he went, how's it going? And I went, I'm alright, mate. And that was it, he didn't speak to me again. So we spent 10 minutes in there, and I'm like, and luckily my watch, because I'd forgotten to turn off how long I'd swum. So he said, do you want to end this swimming because you're either drowned or there's something gone wrong when you watch. So I went, it's time for me to go, and got out, because we're getting awkward, to be fair. You normally get engaged in some conversation.
Yeah, say hello to somebody generally. Yeah. Were they from down south?
I didn't quite get him, get where he was from, because we didn't have enough conversation. Normally you can pick somebody up with the first few words, can't you?
Well, when we used to live in Milton Keynes, and if you wandered down the street, you said hello to someone, that would be like ringing police.
Yeah. Would you like to tell people how we ended up in Milton Keynes, Dave?
Well, as I remember, I think we were both jobless at the time. I'd been sacked and you'd been sacked. Is that about right?
Something along those lines.
That. Maybe they didn't need to know all that detail.
Yeah, we might.
So we were watching TV, pre-internet, and some like BBC Two type program that said there was 100% employment in Milton Keynes.
Yep, that's exactly
0% unemployment. Yeah. And you went, why don't we go there?
I think it was a Sunday night, wasn't it? Something like that. Wasn't it?
And very much like when I said, why don't we start a podcast? You said, why don't we go there? You're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So we flogged everything.
In the house. Rented.
Well, we tried to flog the better stuff for as much money as we could get. And then we got some dodgy bugger over from shop over the road, like second-hand shop, house clearance.
Yeah.
And give us 150 quid for everything that were left. And off we went.
We loaded up what we got into a white Escort estate, I believe it was.
Escort estate, yeah.
And we headed off down to Milton Keynes.
Yeah, in fact, when I got the job, can you remember that first night in that hotel? Was both kind of sat there with a finite amount of money left, thinking, what have we done? And then I looked for a job that I was qualified for, alarm engineer, and there was one in the local paper. And I rang it, and it went, not a number. So I got the Yellow Pages out, found the company.
We'll come back to what Yellow Pages is. Sorry, Dave.
And I looked it up, found the company, and it was one digit out, so it was obviously an error. So I rung them, and the guy said, "Oh, that's strange. We've been told it's been printed with the wrong phone number." And they were like, "Well, yeah, it has, but it's not rocket science, is it?" Like, they were, "Oh, well, you better come in and have an interview." And no idea really where I was going. I parked on this side street, and when I got in for the interview, it was quite off-putting because my car was in the behind him in the window. But it turned out to be a blessing, and because he said, the only thing that's stopping me giving you the job now is that, if you decide after a few weeks it was a bit of a whim and you want to go back home, that was the only thing stopping him. And I said, well, if you look over your shoulder, and we had all duvets, everything in a telly, and I went, that is my home. And he went, oh, well, welcome to the company.
Yeah. I think you took me up to service area, and I said, I've got an interview now up at Newport Pagnell service area. And we came out, and you went, well, how did it go? I said, I've got a job. All right, when did you start? I said, 6 o'clock. And this was about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We hadn't even got anywhere to sleep. But yeah, anyhow, that's a little bit more about our history of things we've got up to in the past.
Yeah, and, that kind of thing where it's a recurring theme, I think. Either you or me come up with a stupid idea, and the other one says, yeah, that's great. You see them two up there, look?
Oh, yeah.
A lot like that, really.
Yeah, Stan and Ollie.
Well, they used to have a recurring thing that they did in all the films, just a formula. So the formula was that it'd say something totally out of all character. Ollie would say something quite clever and intelligent, and Stan would look, Stan would say it, and then Ollie would look, and he'd say that again. When he repeats it, it would complete bollocks, right? And then he'd go, that's a great idea. And they just did it in every... So there's one, it's called Toad in the Hole, where they're fishing, they hire a boat and they go out fishing, get fish and all that, and they come back and they pay the guy for the boat, and then they go and try and sell the fish to make a bit of money. And while they're prepping the fish, Stan says, you know what we should do? We should save up the money, buy our own boat. And then we cut out the middleman, and all the profit would come to us. So he's, say that again. And he says, well, if we bought a fish and we cut out the middle boat, and it does it all like that, and then he goes, that's a great idea. That reminds me of me and you.
Yeah, it is a bit. I'm not sure who's who. One's thin and one's fat.
Yeah, well, but they're both idiots.
Oh, yeah. But do you know that the one in Bradford, the Laurel and Hardy Appreciation Club?
I joined it.
Mick, my brother-in-law, and a few other lads from Rhodes FC used to go, and they all used to get dressed up.
Well, you wear a fez.
Yeah.
You get a fez, and it says Sons of the Desert on it. And people always mistake that. They think that is about, the film where they're in the Foreign Legion and all that.
All right, yeah.
It's nothing to do with that. Sons of the Desert was like a man's club, like a fraternity.
All right.
So, blokes club, no women allowed, da-da-da, Sons of the Desert, and you had to wear a fez and a sash. Right? And that's with that film, The Sons of the Desert.
Right.
So every Laurel and Hardy Appreciation Society is called Sons of the Desert. And because it's like the desert theme and all that, they don't call them a branch, they call them a tent. So every one is named after a film. So name of a film, something, Tent, Bradford. So ours was, the Bradford one was County Hospital Tent, Bradford.
Sure, I think it's now time. I haven't mentioned this to you, but I think I'd like to tell you a joke now, Dave.
Oh, go on then.
Obviously, you can edit it later, but...
Hang on, let me just get ready.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think you're needing that. So anyhow, this bloke is sentenced to death. So he goes into jail, and it's one of these places in America where they're in there for a long time. So he goes in and nervous. I'm going to be some real bother here. So he's in this cell with this bloke. And first night, he goes deathly quiet, and all of a sudden, somebody shouts out from another one, 122. And he looks at this other bloke, and this bloke starts laughing. And he's like, I wonder if that's a cold light I'm going to get when I go to the shower. Next night, another bloke, 147. They all start laughing. You can hear all laughing down. They think, oh God, what are they going to do to me? So he goes on for a couple of weeks, and every night somebody shouting out. Finally, he braves up and he says to this guy, he says, every night when somebody shouts that number out, he says, what does it mean? He says, well, they're all jokes that we know. He said, we're up to 250 now. He said, but there's no point telling them because we know them all. So we just shout the number out now. So he's like, oh, all right. So that seems like a right good idea. So one night he decides nobody's doing it. And the bloke says to him, I think it might be your turn. He says, you've got to do it now. So he's like, I don't really know. 284. And everybody starts cracking and they're all laughing down aisles and everything. 20 minutes they were laughing. And the bloke says to him, why? He said, why would everybody laughing like that so much about that? He said, oh, we've never heard that one before. You may not hear that.
Okay, well, so I guess I'll have to respond. I guess my favourite joke is much short, not much. There's not as much.
I cut that one down.
Yeah, did you? Yeah, thank God. So, two monkeys in a bath. Have you heard that?
Two monkeys in a bath?
Mm.
No, I haven't heard that one.
Two monkeys in a bath, and one says, and another one says, well, put some cold in.
That's a bit like the Umagoula bird.
Yeah.
But with that, we only want to give you one joke. So
yeah.
If you I think what we should do is you vote to who does the next joke.
Yeah.
So send in. Did you like Dave's joke better than mine? If you did, Dave. If not, John. Or if you didn't like either, just say no jokes, please. It's up to you.
We probably won't listen to you.
Not hoping, no. Send us a good joke in and we may actually do it. And you may be mentioned.
Okay, so look at it as a little list then. Oh, I'll tell you what. Did you want to, in memory of good old Steve, right? Yeah. Shall we do some factoids?
Yeah,
I do one, you do one?
Yeah, go
Maybe
on.
Shall we have factoid music?
Yeah, go on. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, go for it then, John.
The longest word without a vowel is rhythm.
Did you know that the ancient Romans used urine as a cleaning agent?
You're taking the...
Yeah. Indeed. Go on then, it's you.
And, a little bit like myself, the Eiffel Tower can be 15 centimetres taller during the summer due to the expansion of the iron in the heat.
I'm not sure that you can be 15 centimetres. You're going a bit over the top there. Yeah, the shortest war in history was between Britain and Zanzibar on August the 27th, 1896. Zanzibar surrendered after 38 minutes.
That was some war. Pity a lot more aren't finished that quick.
Yeah.
A group of flamingos is called a flamboyance.
I like this one. The inventor of the frisbee was turned into a frisbee.
I was quite going to do that one next. You nicked that one
just
from me.
nicked it from you.
Octopuses. Is it not octopi?
I think you can do both. I think both are acceptable.
Mike Padden, could you comment on that, please, for us? Have 3 hearts. 2 pump blood to the gills, while the third pumps it to the rest of the body.
Cows have best friends, they can become stressed when they separate.
Honey never spoils. Archaeologists have found pots of honey in ancient Egyptian tombs that are over 3,000 years old and still in date. Oh no, still perfectly edible.
Wait, Egyptian hieroglyphics.
yeah. Turn it round and all right, yeah.
The tomb robbers didn't nick the honey then.
No, obviously not. No.
Did you know that Tutankhamun wasn't born Tutankhamun?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, his father's... What the hell did he call his father now? Anyway, his father, the pharaoh before him, was a bit of a nutter, and he kicked out all the religious gods, because they had quite a lot of different gods, and they had done for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. And he said, no, there's only this one sun god now. So when he died, unexpectedly, these Tutankhamun were only 9. So they say that all the advisors got around him and said, you need to bring back the other gods and da-da-da. So he kind of rejected his father's, and he took on the name Amun, which was one of the old gods.
All right. And that brings a good point up, actually, Dave. I've just had another grandson, thank you, Stephen and Hannah, a little boy, and they've named him Max. And I thought, is it after Maximus or Maximilian? And apparently,
Headroom?
No, not even that. Max Headroom, yeah. Oh, God, that man used to make me laugh. There were quite a few lads at school look like it. Yeah. And no, it's Maxwell. So I said,
House?
Well, this is, I don't know whether, I haven't told him yet that there was a coffee named it. I mean, if he'd have said Nescafe, I might have mentioned it then. And I said, is it after Maximus, from Maximus Aurelius, I am the murderer of a da-da-da-da-da-da. And what do you think about the names that adults today are giving their children? Have you, having my other grandson is called Arthur and Maxwell. They're lovely little boys. And
quite traditional names.
Yeah. And I'm just surprised at what names.
Well, they'd struggle, as me and you being lapsed Catholics and all that. They used to have to be a saint, didn't they? And when you were baptised, they would say, Saint so-and-so, pray for him.
All right, yeah. So who was Saint
Jonathan then? The priest would struggle with Saint Kylie, pray for him.
Saint Kylie. Yeah. So you named this child Minogwe.
Yeah, after Saint Minogwe, obviously.
I once asked my mum, I said, what, this Jonathan, I hate it. I mean, look at Ronald Reagan. He was named after a president.
He was a president.
I know where you're billing. Yeah, he'd have been better off staying as an actor. And then there were, what's his name, a wrestler. What he called?
That became an American president.
No, he hasn't been an American president. What was his name?
Oh, Shirley.
Shirley, yeah. Big Daddy, was it?
Yeah, big Shirley Crabtree.
Shirley Crabtree, yeah.
I nearly said Valentine. But
I nearly said Valentine as well.
No. Big Daddy was called Shirley. I suppose, you like that song, Johnny Cash, A Boy Named Sue?
Yeah.
Give him a ridiculous name so he could... Maybe Shirley, where Crabtree were like that too.
Yeah.
So what about his name, Knock You Out? Right, where do you want to go now?
What I'd like to do is, I think that there's thousands of people across this country who do a little bit in their own areas that do good. And not the big guys do well, your Age Concern and Sense and all these other massive charities that have got the charity shops. But there's little groups out there doing work in your local communities, whether there be food banks, whether it be this, be that and the other. And I'd like once a week for us to give a shout out to a local charity, and we want for you to send it in to us. Name your charity, tell us what they do, and we'll give them a shout out because they deserve it. They're unpaid, the volunteers, they're going out there. And I would particularly like to start it off this week, and I would like to mention that in Bingley we have a beautiful park called Myrtle Park, and there is a charity who have a little hub in there, and every week they go out and do a bit of gardening around the place. It's called Friends of Myrtle Park, FOMP for short, and they do great work. They're just setting out doing the sunken garden in that area now, so if you're from around that area, call down in the park, and if you see somebody bent down with the high-vis on weeding, they're volunteers. They do a lot of help from the council and the ground staff around there, but these are charitable people just making our life a little bit better for us. So I'd like to give them a big clap. Have we got a clap on here, Dave?
Yeah, we have somewhere.
So if you think of anybody, next week Dave will mention one, and we'll just keep on.
Well, what I was going to say is, have they got a Facebook page or something?
Yeah, they have. Yeah, they've got a Facebook page.
Because what we can do is we can put a link in the show notes.
Yeah, so that'd be great. I did ask for permission before I left.
Okay. We'll do that. We'll put a link down below in the show notes. And yourself down there. Okay.
Go back to the days of when we were just...
The Tetley Pub Hunt.
Well, yes, I think you know what it was about. People might not know about this if they're from around the other area. I know some people in Australia will remember it well. But there was Tetley's, it's a local Leeds brewery, started this thing called the Tetley Pub Hunt, where it came out and I think were it 20 pubs you had to do.
Something like that, yeah. And so you got a stamp.
Yeah, for a pint.
For a pint, but you had to have different pubs.
Yeah.
So it got you going around all the different Tetley pubs.
Yeah. Great idea, and that would be for responsible drinking, so you could actually do it in one night if you were ambitious. Or you could share a card between 2 or 3, but we thought that'd be cheating, so we did try to aim to do it in one night. 2 nights, if you couldn't afford to do it in one night. So yeah, you went round with this card, and you went in the pubs, and you got stamped, and 20 pubs later, you got a T-shirt sent through the post to you.
You did, and then it was that successful, they ran it again the next year, and then you get a different T-shirt. Yeah, absolutely. And, we've all got our own little stories to tell. You certainly have. But maybe we'll tee that up for next week, do you think?
Yeah, we can do that. It's, in fact, this is coming up to, 3 years ago this next month, I pretty much died. But, that's a story that I'm happy to tell. And, I'm not a voice from above or below. I am here, and I'm happy to share my story, and hopefully it might help some people as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll give that a good section of its own next time.
Yeah. Over the next few weeks, I'll share an insight of some of the hospitality that I did up at Harewood House and some various the service areas that I worked on, and been mistaken for Rick Astley. A few things that to come up by a load of Liverpudlian fans, but that's for next week. I can't give you it all tonight, otherwise you won't come back. You might not come back.
Absolutely, mistake. And were the guide dogs all right?
Yeah. And
people who mistook you for Rick Astley.
Yeah, no. It was common at the time, and I, and as they left, I just said, "Look, lads, I'm just never going to give you up."
Oh, Christ! I think on that note,
it's good night from him.
We should have it's good night from him. Absolutely. Oh, jeez.
Well, hopefully you'll hear the good bits and not too many of the bad bits when Dave's finished.
Yeah.
We have to look forward to seeing you again next week. Speaking to you next week.
Yeah, so this will be dropping on Wednesday, the 20th of March. So Paddy's Day will have just been and gone. So sláinte to everybody. Hope you had a good St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah. Be Jesus and all that TR. That's my worst accent ever.
I'm going to say, what's the Welsh got to do with it? All right, yeah, definitely. It's good night from me.
Yeah, thank you, and good night from me.